This program is administered through Cuyahoga County, the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District, the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission, and the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. It's a very good partnership. So welcome everyone to the 2021 application grant workshop. So we do welcome in introductions. In the rest of the agenda, we're going to overview the Cuyahoga County Climate Action Change Action Plan, the summary of program year 2019, the grant program that kicked this off. So, and then we'll get into the real details of the Cuyahoga County Healthy Urban Tree Canopy Program for program year 2021, the purpose, program guidelines, scoring and selection, and a very brief what's next, what if I get funded, and afterward we'll address your questions. So let's get started. And Monica, I'm going to turn that over to you and just.
So just a little bit of a background on why this grant program was created and on our the county's climate change action plan. So sort of in response to the United States pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement, the Cuyahoga County signed on to the Global Covenant of Mayors of Climate and Energy. This was to sort of fight and mitigate the effects of climate change at a local level. So this required us to create a climate change action plan and to track and report our emissions. So we have some goals in that climate change action plan. I think you can view it on the County Planning Commission's website. But that was to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030. And there's a couple of different sections in our climate change action plan that focus on energy, transportation, natural systems, health, and land use. In our climate change action plan, we note that there's the inner ring suburbs in Cleveland kind of have a pretty low tree canopy. And then the County Planning Commission actually completed a tree canopy assessment with data from 2011 to 2017. And we saw that there was about a 6% decrease across the county. So this is something important. You know, we want to stop the tree canopy loss. And as you may know, trees have a number of benefits. They help improve water quality, they reduce erosion, they save energy, lower temperatures, reduce air pollution, enhance property values, and much more. So this led to the Healthy Urban Tree Canopy Grant Program. So with this program, we are giving $5 million over 5 years to plant thousands of trees. And this is year 2 of those 5 years. Next slide. So just a summary of 2019, which was the first year of the program. So we planted over 1,400 trees through implementation grants. We created about 14 tree plans for future planting work. Over 14,500 planting sites were identified, and this also creation of a business plan for a nonprofit tree nursery in Cuyahoga County was also created. Next slide.
Okay, I'll jump in here just to follow up on what Monica had said, that there's a recent update to the county's tree canopy assessment. The original one was published in 2013 with data that was measured up to 2011. The more recent one was published in 2019, and just repeating what Monica had said, with a data period of 2011 to 2017. The previous one, published in 2013, was a 10-year period. The newer one is a 6-year period. But as this shows that there is tree canopy loss, this is large amounts of tree canopy that was lost around the county that you can see shown on the map there. Countywide, the tree canopy update report showed that a little over 100,000 acres have tree canopy in our county. And some of our land is not usable for planting trees, a little less than 17%. But there is room to improve, because we did have, as Monica had said, a tree canopy loss of a little over 6% in that 6-year time period.
Allison, you're on mute.
Sorry, I couldn't find the microphone there. Sorry about that, everyone. So again, the program year 2 of the Cuyahoga County Healthy Urban Tree Canopy Grant does have a very similar purpose. And I just want to reiterate that to add a large scale planting to grow canopy, expand tree canopy in areas that are vulnerable, establish new tree canopy, protect existing tree canopy, and establish plans and policies that do promote healthy tree canopy. So what is new in program year 2021? Well, we developed new forms and worksheets. So in addition to the applicant manual, there's applicant forms, there's budget sheets, there's inventories, and we'll go through those a little bit later when we get into the nitty-gritty of the program. This year we added a large-scale planting projects. We'll evaluate a couple larger scale planting projects. We also increased the local match this year, and we'll explain that as we go through the program. There's a 12 to 18 month timeline that we're going to follow, and that should allow for 2 planting seasons, or maybe 3 if you're really quick. And any planning project must also incorporate planting. So I do see that there's some questions, some. Nope.
I got it, Allison.
Okay. Some programs. So you'll see the importance or the priority of the criteria as we go through the program, and also when you see the point structure for the evaluation of that. So hopefully that'll address your question, Elise. So who's eligible to apply? So local political subdivisions. This includes municipalities, townships, school districts, and library districts, community development corporations, and nonprofit corporations and watershed groups. Nonprofit corporations should be exempt from federal income tax, and there's more detail on this in the applicant manual. And the core mission should support environmental conservation or watershed activities. So there's 2 types of grants that we're looking at this year. Planting grants. Planting grants will fund the associated activities for planting. So that's the purchasing and planting of trees recommended in an existing tree plan, starting a tree nursery, mulching, removing and replacing trees, watering, staking, guying, trunk guards, or other maintenance activities. The planning grants will fund the activities to develop inventories or urban forestry management plans. And again, I'm going to start at the bottom. You know, you can make your plan, but we also want you to start planting right away. Again, there's some urgency to start growing this canopy. So including your planting component, hiring consultants for technical and organizational assistance, developing an urban forestry management plan, forming a tree commission, developing local tree laws, conducting a tree inventory and or Ohio Site Index, and identifying best management practices. So program year 2021, the funding allocation, whoops, what did I do? It's $950,000. Grant requests, at least 75% of the grant funds will be awarded to planting projects. So that is a priority this year. But up to a maximum of 25% of grant fundings will be awarded to the combined planning and planting projects. Typical grant awards are expected to be between $25,000 and $50,000. However, the high impact reforestation projects may be awarded up to $100,000. Now, I can see your minds thinking, what is the high impact reforestation? So I'll start with the bottom bullet. The high impact reforestation projects reforest 5 or more acres of land, and the higher grant awards amounts will be available for a limited number of high impact projects. Again, I guess I said this enough, but planning projects must incorporate the tree planting within the 18 months of the date of the project agreement. And again, all of these plantings have to be accomplished in 18 months, not just the planning projects. Community reforestation projects are those that purpose to reforest public or private lands, not including right-of-way plantings and other highly linear installations. So, match requirement. So this again has been raised. You might have been planning for 5% match, but in 2021, it's a minimum of 10% match. Now, it depends on the type of applicant that is applying. Municipalities, townships, school districts, and library districts shall provide a minimum match of 10% of the project cost. Community development corporations and nonprofit corporations with less than $5 million in assets shall provide a minimum match of 10% of the project cost. Nonprofit corporations and community development corporations with 5 million or more in assets shall provide a minimum match of 50% of the project cost. So how do you know your assets? To determine the appropriate local match, you can go onto the Attorney General's website. So I'm going to stop sharing the program for a minute and take you over to see how to do that. So I have to reshare my screen, and there it is, share. So, okay, so here is the Attorney General's website, and you're in the charitable registration section, and you can put in your name, or if you work there and you know your identification number, you do that and click on search, right? Okay, there was a problem. Please try again. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. I don't know why I have to log in, but that shouldn't have happened. So, but if you go into that site and click on it and search, I wonder, I don't know my email. I know my email. I don't know my password. So, well, you may have to set up an account. I don't know why that happened. I'm gonna keep going though. If you have any questions, I can walk you through this later or at another time because we have a lot to cover today. But again, in the details section, a box will pop up, and at the very bottom of the box will be listed your assets. And again, if you have more than $5 million, you will be required to provide 50% match.
And Allison, just to reiterate, that's just for the nonprofit sector, not for government sector.
Okay, thank you. And heading back to the PowerPoint, share. So again, this is easy to navigate. I'm sorry I couldn't show it, and hopefully there's no more glitches like that. So eligible local match sources, that is contributions of money by any person, foundation, local political subdivision, and or the state or federal government. Contributions in kind through the purchase of donation of equipment, labor, and materials necessary to complete the project. It must include a certification of funds for local match on letterhead stationery. And again, just so you know, we've developed a template for that, and we'll show you how to find that a little bit later in the program. So eligible costs, and this slide shows you the eligible costs for both planting projects and the planting and planting projects. So purchasing and planting of trees, starting the tree nursery, mulching, pruning, removing and replacing trees, watering, staking and guying, trunk guard and other tree protection practices, hiring consultants, developing the forestry management plan, or conducting the tree inventory or the Ohio Urban Site Index. Ineligible costs. So again, costs not included in your budget. So costs not included in the Cuyahoga County Healthy Tree Canopy Project Expenses Worksheet. This is one of those new worksheets I mentioned earlier. If it's not a line item in your budget, we will not reimburse this. Remember, this is a reimbursement grant. Salaries for grant administration costs such as application preparation, preparation of reimbursement, travel-related expenses, or project reporting requirements. This grant doesn't pay for computers or software. It doesn't pay for capital equipment purchases such as spades, gloves, hoses, heavy equipment, or other gardening equipment. If you have any questions about this, again, when you're developing your grant, certainly send in a question. And finally, this grant will not cover sales tax. So the evaluation criteria, what we would be looking at is the community need for tree canopy based on the percent coverage as well as percent loss noted in the 2019 Cuyahoga County Urban Tree Canopy Assessment, the contribution to the mitigation and adaptation of climate change with specific focus on environmental, social, and health benefits, implementation and maintenance strategy, the project metrics and evaluation, meaning how you guys are going to measure your progress in growing canopy, and how the project fits into the current community plans and budget. So now we're getting into the meat of it. And again, this is all published in the applicant manual, but for local match, the maximum is 5 points. So basically, if you get the minimum amount of match, you'll get less points. If you exceed that, you have the opportunity to make more. So readiness to proceed is 10 points. Urban forest initiatives is 10 points. Qualified personnel, 10 points. Project plan is 15 points. Maintenance plan is 15 points. Vulnerability assessment is 15 points. Existing tree canopy is 15 points, and the community and environmental benefits are 10. And finally, partner coordination. We do encourage you to partner with neighboring communities or nonprofits, and that'll be 5. So again, this is pretty much the same list I just said. There's information, more detailed information on all these topics, project information, project expenses, local match, et cetera, in the application manual. But right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to jump back and forth from hopefully jump back and forth from the slide program to the website, and we'll show you. So the first important thing I'm going to show you is the application forms this year. So again, we have the applicant manual and the grant application form, and this can be found on our website. Our website can be kind of confusing, so hopefully when I share it this time, it'll be working. Share. County Planning Commission. So if this is our tree canopy, it's really very thick, and then we're down in the understory. So if you go to services, grant programs, and once you get to grant programs, again, it's all the way at the bottom, Healthy Urban Tree Canopy Grant Program. And then here you can find all the application materials for this year. So here's the link to the application manual, but I want to open up the application form for you all. So okay, so that's open, and this application form is a fillable PDF form, so all of the applications this year will be coming in looking very much very similar to each other. So again, we start with your contact information and the project type. And then we want some basic project information, the project description, and what the current need is and how your project addresses the current need. One thing to know about these narrative boxes is they have a limit of 500 characters. So be succinct, be brief, use bullet points if you need to, and just really focus in on the need and what you really need us to know. So project expenses, there's an Appendix A form that you'll fill out. This is the project expenses worksheet, and I'm going to go over that because that's a little bit detailed in a little bit. Local match, once again, I showed you how to find out how much you did, and I will show you also that the local match will be identified in your Healthy Urban Tree Canopy Project Expenses Worksheet in Appendix A, so we'll be able to see that. And then there is a link to that template for the certification of local match that I was telling you about. Readiness to proceed. If you received an award in a previous program year, let us know. And if you've completed all the tasks, or you're still working on it, or if you have not. And once again, we are going to ask you for a project schedule, knowing that all grant applicants must make a 12 to 18 month commitment from the date of the project agreement to complete all major tasks. And then here is a fillable form, your start date, your end date, and dates and tasks or activities. So then the urban forestry initiatives. Again, we want to know what your municipality or program has. So if you have tree ordinances, your Tree City USA, you have an ongoing tree program, check all the boxes that apply. And again, you'll see that the points that you can get for all those. Again, you can check all the boxes, but we're going to look for supporting documentation. So in these narratives here, let us know where to find your tree ordinance. Is there a link? Show us your Tree City USA certification and how to find it, that kind of stuff. So again, list any local standards or ordinances to the project that conserve existing tree canopy. And also let us know the date it was adopted. Describe the need for the funding request. What other funds are available within the applicant's organization? This grant program is to complement your existing programs, not supplement your existing programs. So this is to take you above and beyond what you're already doing. So again, show us what you're already doing to work on this, and then how these funds will help you get a little bit further. Qualified personnel. So again, this was pretty similar. We asked this last year, and the only thing different is we gave the roles numbers. So certified arborist is number 1, the tree risk assessment qualification number 2, 3. So put the personnel, all the roles that apply, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you might not be able to fit all the qualifications in here. That's just a basic, but we do ask you to attach the statement of qualifications of dedicated personnel to the application. So project location and plans, I believe this is the first 15 point. This is the max points you can get in this program year. So the project location and plans, this will later become part of your detailed plan that you'll need to submit with a project agreement if you do receive an award. But right now, just the basics, because you're limited to 500 characters. Check all the boxes that reflect the nature of the project. Oh, whoops, I'm in the dark. Hold on, thanks, sorry. So are you going to implement a high or plan to high impact reforestation project, community reforestation projects, planting in vacant lots, starting a tree nursery, removing and replacing trees, and routine maintenance and periodic repairs? So, and again, this bottom box is to provide any additional specific information relevant to the project plans or policy development, diversity of species reporting schedule. And again, you can always attach documents or provide links to current plans, especially for applicants that did receive grants last year and do have those plans completed. you know, we're hoping that you're building off of those specific plans. And so we want to see how this ties into them. Maintenance, again, we can plant many trees, but we need them all to grow in order to develop that canopy. So how are you going to be maintaining the new plants? And this is just a brief description of your watering routines, your mulching, pruning, staking, and other. And again, this is 200 characters per box. So you will, again, not have a lot of room for all of that. But just to give us an idea, if you do have a maintenance plan, you know, add it as an attachment, a detailed maintenance plan, that is. So. All right, so the vulnerability assessment, this is similar to last year. Provide a map that shows the result of the vulnerability assessment in the project location as specifically as possible at the time of application. And then we're gonna, again, go to all these links in a little bit. But again, this is just a screenshot and print it out and attach it to your application. Tree canopy, same thing, provide maps of current tree canopy and any tree canopy loss specific to the project location. And this information is readily available on the Urban Tree Canopy Viewer, which we will visit. Community and environmental benefit for 10 points. So describe the effects of climate change and tree canopy loss specific to the project area, and how this project will impact the community benefit, environmental benefit, and explain any assessment methods that will be used to measure that project success. Again, not a lot of space, 500 characters. And the last part is the partner coordination. So I think we have a couple of questions. I want to take a look at those before I continue. Let's see. Either of those cover a tree species plan recommendation. Oh, Mike will answer these questions. Okay, Catherine Kerber has a good question. We'll address these at the end. I'm going to keep going. So that's the application form. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I have to share screen. So share. This is next few slides are going to make sure you guys are awake as I jump from screen to screen. Finally, the new project expenses worksheet. This is going to be the basis of your budget. So it's the Appendix A. This is an Excel form. Again, I'm going to open it up on our website in a second, and but we do have instructions on our website. So we want to know the name, the project name, the type of project it is, and then your expenses, the quantity, cost per unit, the grant request, and I'll show all of this. Hold on, let me stop sharing this and get back to our website. Oh, I have to share screen. There you go, share. I'm going back here, but we'll go back to the website. Here it is. So this is important. So again, it's going to download depending on your server, and we'll open it. Okay, whoops, I did the wrong one. So can you see an Excel worksheet, or do you just see there it is. Do you see the Excel worksheet? Somebody, anyone? Two more, chat.
Not yet, still
not yet.
Website.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let me try a different way of doing this then. I guess it's not going to work that way. So I'm going to unshare I gotta get back to Zoom. I appreciate your patience because there are a lot of this. Let's see, Excel, I can do this way, share screen. And hold on, okay. No, that's still Appendix B. Stop share. Okay. Oh, well. Okay, so now you're seeing this. This shows up kind of wonky, and I'm still working on this glitch here, but if you press enable editing, there it goes. It turns into one document. And I don't know why it's doing that. So again, applicant, you can fill your name and project name in the white cells, and then the project expenses. Again, this will go the source or the contractor or the staff title, quantity, cost per unit, grant request, local match funds, and total cost. And the reason why we have this is if you're ordering, say, 100 trees, 50% are going to be from grant and 50 are going to be from local match. So that's why we have it in this order. So you might just have all 100 on the grant request and just go over to total cost. You'll see at the bottom of this form, there are some totals and equations, so you can watch as you build this sheet. If you're meeting your match, this will automatically calculate the percentage as you start populating this table. So, and you may or may not have questions on that, but that is, again, that budget is going to be the basis of your reimbursements. So if it's not in there, you will be reimbursed. Please use that. And let me go back and share screen back to the slideshow share. So the local match, and again, the Dave Yost site to find out. And then again, on our website, we have this Chief Financials Officer Certification of Local Match. So this is a template that you will use. There's the website. This is self-explanatory, and there the link is on the website, and I'll show you the next time I stop sharing this. Again, if you get a grant and you're using that as local match, please include a copy of the award letter as well as a certification from your Chief Financial Officer. Because if you're using a grant fund for match, yet the grants haven't been awarded yet, we can't necessarily know that that is coming in, so it won't count as match. It has to be already awarded. So, and you have to be able to certify that you will cover that. So.
Right, and other thing, can I just jump in?
Sure.
What she means is funds from another grant, not this grant. This grant can't be the match. Just wanted to clarify that, make sure everybody understands.
All right, thank you, Susan. And then the tree planting inventory, this is Appendix B. I'm gonna ask Jared to talk about this, and I'm gonna stop share, and that's all I can pull up. So this should be pretty easy to pull up. Appendix B, share. There you go.
Thanks, Allison. Yeah, basically, as you see on this form, it's laid out similar to many of our other forms, where you get your name, applicant name, project name, and the project type in there. We just want to know a little more details about the trees. So for each really species, we would have laid out the number, you know, and then we definitely want to see both the scientific or botanical name and the common name for those. That'll help us with our review. Also, then indicator if it is native or not, the cost per tree, and then what type are you planting? Bare root, ball and burlap, and the anticipated caliber, what that would be. We know you're not going to know the exact caliber necessarily, but you know, a range even, or just an estimate of what that would be for those. And you're going to list that through the whole site. So each one of these, so if you're getting 30, white oaks, and they are, you list that out, and they're going to be ball and burlap, you would go across here and do everything for that. If you're going to get 30 more white oaks, but they're going to be containerized, you would have another row for those. So anytime you'd have a difference there, you'd want to list those out. So we give you plenty of spaces to do that. If for some reason you would need additional spaces, you can always just do another copy of this sheet.
Yeah, and this is an Excel, so you can insert, and then
Yeah.
again, we're going to have a sum and look at the total number of trees being planted as well. So, and again, I call on Jared for that from the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District, because before you're planting, they are going to come out and monitor that and match the trees and check out the methods. So thanks, Jared. Stop share. And here we go. You know what? I think, so share screen and back to here, share. So next is the vulnerability, and Monica is gonna talk about that. So
Yeah, I think we're gonna click on the link, right?
yeah, it should work.
Okay.
Are you guys seeing this opening up?
I still see the PowerPoint.
Nope, I gotta stop sharing and look for it. Okay, so
the vulnerability assessment can be found on the County Planning Commission's website. The link will also be in the application, so you should be able to easily access it.
hold on. Okay, hold on. It's not showing up. Give me 1 second. Be patient. Okay, hold on. Yeah, whoops, sorry. I'm just playing with this now. Am I sharing anything? I'm sharing the... No, okay. I have to get back to the vulnerability. And okay. Okay. All right, is it showing up now?
Yes, I can see it.
Oh, phew.
So this is the vulnerability assessment. It shows both social and physical factors that can contribute to an area's vulnerability. So social factors could be, as you can see on the right, percentage of population under the age of 5, percentage of the minority population, percentage that rents, things of that sort. Physical factors could be your heat island effect, impervious surface cover, residential, older residential buildings and aging infrastructure. What we really want to look at is she's unchecking those and scrolling to the bottom and checking composite. So that kind of shows the whole picture of all the vulnerability put together. You can go ahead and zoom in like she's doing now to the specific project location. So what we really want is just like a screenshot, or use the snipping tool or print screen of, you know, your project area and where your project is. I know snipping tool has a little marker pen function where you can draw on the picture after it's captured. So that would be helpful if you are able to maybe draw out where the project is specifically on where you're zoomed in at. But just go ahead and, you know, uncheck the physical and social factors, and then make sure you check off composite factors at the bottom. Zoom in, take a snipping tool or a screenshot of it and attach it to your application. So that's what we're looking for. And this one is 15 points, so it's a little bit higher than some of the other factors we're looking at when scoring.
Great, thanks, Monica. All right. Whoops. Share screen. All right, and this is the last time I will go in and out, but again, the existing tree canopy that we ask you, and again, this presentation will be on our website, and these links are active. So there is, if you're not familiar with our green print, there is green print training videos, and there is the actual green print. So I'm going to stop share and show you where to find that on the county planning website. So share screen for the last time today. Let's see, which one? Not that one. Okay, share. So go to county planning and see, I go to environmental and Cuyahoga County Green Print and the interactive mapper. So this does take a little bit to download.
Ocean, you should use this as an advertisement, by the way. You guys have a great website with a lot of information on it for other things other than Tree Canopy. So.
Thank you, Mike. You did the advertisement. So this is great. This is a great tool, as Mike said. So, and if I can get to there. So these are the operational layers. Again, this is something you can zoom in on, and you're actually going to need to zoom in on to see this stuff. So if you scroll down, here is the urban tree canopy metrics. So you have the existing canopy, land cover and tree canopy. And then there's also canopy change. Here, tree canopy change from 2011 to 2017. So again, you can zoom in on your project. And again, that shows you the detail. The green is the canopy and the red is the loss. So that's, and again, like Monica said, if you do a screenshot or snip and sketch, or in this project, this program, the green print actually does have tools so that you can make your borders and identify things in there, and that's in the green print training. So again, you want your canopy loss from 2011 to 2017, and then your existing tree canopy metrics. So there you go. It should be. I think there was also land cover ones that you can see. Here it is, land cover 2017. There you go. So there you can see the real canopy. I'm using that land cover form. So I'm gonna go back to our green print page. So there's a viewer, the guidebook, and then using the green print, you should scroll. Where are the link to the tutorials? There are tutorials on here, and again, if I cannot find it, oh, here, training. You can just use the links in the slide program and you will go right up there. Here they are. So there's several overview, measurement, and markup if you want to do it right in here. Graphical query tools. So all kinds of good videos on here. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And See, we are doing good. We're almost through, and that was the last screen share change. So if you were feeling like, well, I was going to say if you were watching the Blair Witch Project, but that was probably dating me. It's all over. So the schedule this year. Again, it was the materials were made available on January 22nd, and you are all here today for the applicant workshop webinar. And you have a month to complete these. Applications are due by 4 p.m. And these are due electronically. So you can either email them directly to me if they are large files and you need to use a file sharing service, do that. But I would double check and send me an email and make sure it was received. Because again, if it's coming from Dropbox or SharePoint or this or that, and it might be something I don't have access to, and it might end up in my junk file. So definitely, if you are using a file sharing source, please email me and make sure that it was received. So depending on how many we get, the evaluation and scoring, we're looking at first couple weeks in March, with the awards being announced on April 1st. Now, the awardees will enter into a project agreement with the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission. However, there is a limit. You're going to have 60 days to enter into the project agreement. And other than that, then the award might be knocked out and gone down the ranking list to other members. So you're going to have to get that in. And there is a mandatory workshop for awardees to review the reimbursement procedures and the monitoring process and all of that. So very briefly, again, if your project is awarded funds, what happens? What are the next steps? Like I said, there is a mandatory grant award workshop to go over the project agreements, the monitoring of projects. And I'm gonna stop talking for a little bit and ask Jan or Jared if they want to say a few words about monitoring of the projects. Thanks, Jan.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Oh wait,
I can.
I'm on mute.
No, you weren't on mute.
You're good.
Am I on mute?
No, you're good.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So Allison already indicated that it's just not about planting trees, it's about growing trees. And if we want our trees to grow, urban trees that have, unfortunately, right now, a lifespan sometimes of 7 years or less, that we're really serious about this program and wanting to see our canopy restored. So not unlike what we did in the first round of grants, all the grant applicants, when you're planting trees, you will need to give the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District 72 hours notice. Let us know where your trees are being planted, and we are going to be out on site. And while we're there, we will be observing, we will be advising. There seems to sometimes to be a fear of making sure that those trees are taken out of the bucket and that the roots are splayed and planted in a hole that's not too deep, and that it has a proper soil amendments and that it's mulched properly. We do not like volcano mulching. So we're asking you to please give us the heads up so that we have time to be out there on site with you. This is a mandatory requirement, and we will be monitoring and checking who is adhering to those requirements. So we don't want to be the bad guys. We just want to ensure that these trees are being planted, that they're going to survive. We'd hate to have you have to go back and take them back out and replant them. So let's do it right the first time.
Great, thanks, Jan. So, and again, in the project agreement, it will point out, and I believe it's also in bold, that if you do not have the monitoring that it's not reimbursable. So, and again, this is something that we will review at that mandatory grant award workshop so that you can't say, I didn't realize that. So, and then again, when we talk about the schedule, if you're planning your 12 to 18 months, it's probably going to be around this April 12th or sometime after. At that grant award workshop, we'll also go over the reimbursement and reporting. We're working on updating and revising some of the forms for that, and scope change forms and all that we're going to go through at that meeting, and it'll be similar to this one. So now is the time that you guys have all been waiting for. I see that there's quite a few in the Q&A, and and I also see that some people want to answer this. So Mike, why don't you take the screen? I see Mike Foley would like to answer this question live, and a couple questions.
Thanks, Allison. And I think I just messed up and hit the wrong button.
Oh.
But at least for Joyce's first question at 9:45, for either planning or planting, can either of these cover a tree species plan recommendation? Well, the planning you should have a tree species recommendation. I mean, that's one of the things I think we're going to be we're asking for is, what are the appropriate trees to be planted in the appropriate areas, same thing with if you're asking to do actual planting of trees, then same thing. We're going to want to make sure that the species fit the our environment, our geology, our geography, all that stuff. So those are things that we'll obviously take into consideration.
All right. So the anonymous attendee, will these slides be emailed? No, these slides will be uploaded to our website, which again, I showed you how to find, this is also being recorded. So the recording will also be uploaded. And then again, if you can't find it on our website, just email me, and my email is actually the very last slide after questions and answers. So readiness to proceed section says we have 12 to 18 months. So the timeline says a final report. Maybe that should be an annual report is due, but again, if you're doing a 12-month program, then it would be your final report. I will get some clarification out on that after this workshop. I'm going to reconvene with the team and see if we can work on the wording on that. Sound good, folks?
Yeah.
Qualified person item from 2 separate items in it. Catherine, I would have to get back to that one. Hold on, let me see. Oh, that's in the, I have to look at the, okay.
While you're bringing that up, I can go on to the next question while you're finding that.
Okay, that'd be good. I'm gonna stop sharing, and that way everybody
And I think
can
that's
see.
also for this. So Catherine, we'll go back to your other question as well. I'm gonna go ahead to Elise's question. Said earlier in the presentation, I thought there was a note about not wanting right-of-way or highly linear plantings, but the planting plant gave an option for street trees. Can you clarify? It's not that there's not wanting highly linear or right-of-way plantings. I understand that might be part of, especially a community's plan, just for the high impact ones in those community forestry categories. We're not looking for the street T kind of linear plantings on those. For those high impact grants, it would be more of a reforestation, more of an area, a larger area, more condensed, I guess. And then there was another one about the linearity of the project from Roy Larrick. I'll go ahead and answer that one too. Since we're talking about that, it's really just the difference between the categories. So if you're a community and your plan says you're planting street trees and the street trees, that's fine. It's more for those, like I said, those community reforestation, those high impact really those high impact projects where we wouldn't look to those more linear plantings, especially thinking right of way and street tree plantings there. I know that can also imply potentially, you know, if you're doing a repair and reforestation, but if that was all kind of together, that would be looked at differently and obviously have other benefits that would enhance the scoring.
Thanks. And I want to get back to Catherine Kerber's qualified personnel. Item 4 seems to have 2 separate items. That's an and/or situation. I think, again, if you have any of those, you can check that off. So let's see. Yeah, Jared, go on with the questions here.
Okay, I was going to see where we are. So let's see if just going on to Elise's, let's see, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out where we are here. Back to Catherine again, the maintenance plan section says to include links or to attach a planting and maintenance plan as outlined in the project agreement. Yeah, we don't have the project agreement. I think we just want to see if you already have a plan developed at that point beyond what you would type into those the table, and go ahead and attach that.
So, and also the project agreements, as soon as they're finalized, we will have them up for you as an applicant to see what they include before you submit it. I can't tell you that it's going to be up before the end of this week, but we will get it up and I will send an e-blast out to let you know. So.
Anonymous attendee, as a municipality, do we get additional points if we put in a 15% in-kind match?
You know, I forget the threshold of percentage where it goes up. So I will, if that person emails me directly, I can let them know what that percentage is, or maybe even start an FAQ.
Right. If the grant request is for both planting and planning, is it possible for the tree inventory sheet to be a draft to be refined based on the plan, or do you want the final tree types determined at the time of application?
Well, if it's a planning project, I think that the draft will be, I mean, that will have to suffice.
Right. Unless you already have some locations identified that you know. Right.
But the more specific you can be, that's going to be better for us.
Right. Rich Schneider asked, do you show a preference for native species? There are many applications in which a non-native tree is a good choice based on site conditions. I think, yeah, we agree with that. It depends on what your application is for. If it's for street trees or, you know, other certain, you know, municipal applications, we understand that a native species might not always be the best option. I think when given a choice between, you know, a native species and a non-native that would both perform, you know, equally or perform what you need it to do, we would have a preference for the native species. And then also in the larger reforestation, community reforestation, high impact projects, we would definitely want to see native trees in those circumstances. All right, next one, anonymous attendee. Can this program be used to replant subdivisions, also for city parkland, school parkland, or private property? The short answer is yes. Depending on the situation, I think all those are eligible applications. Again, but the more specific you can be about that and how those, especially on private property, if the city is not the one doing the maintenance or the applicant's not the one doing the maintenance, how the maintenance is going to occur on those is going to be important to indicate. Makes sense.
And also for the school planting question and everything, just so you know, the soil and water is coming out there, so the private property owners have to be okay with that.
Let's give me that. Charles Orlowski asked, does the 10% match need to be matching funds, or can it be long-term maintenance that the city would pay for? Examples would include watering the second year after planting or young tree training.
So the match would have to be within that 18-month period.
But it can be maintenance activities that the city is performing.
I believe it can be maintenance, but it just has to be in the
18 months.
in the 18 months. So within the schedule.
May I add a comment to both those points? Yes, they can apply for these, but they will score lower points, so they might not get sufficient points to be funded, as opposed to projects which want to plant all native trees in clusters.
Right. I'm muted. Joseph Dwyer, can we include RFQs and then estimate costs for trees and outside contractors on the application? I think those, oh, go ahead, Allison.
No, you go ahead.
No, I think obviously we're not going to assume that you have a contract in place for the time of application. I think you can get a pretty, if you're planting trees, I think it's reasonable to get you'd have a pretty solid estimate from whoever's doing that, or from whatever nursery you're getting those trees from. I think those costs would be easy to nail down. As far as same thing, I think if you're putting together a plan, I think you can, if you have an estimate from someone, or you've put together an estimate how you normally would to contract those services, I think that's sufficient. It's just we want to be as close, obviously you want to be as accurate as possible. If anything needs to change, it'll be a modification process and all those kind of things.
Right, and I will let you know that in the program year 2019, we've had a couple of people change their contractors that they listed in their application. And again, it's just a scope change discussion, and it was, if it stays within the budget, it was always approved. So.
And then Joyce asking, is there a policy around maintenance of our mature trees who already provide a lot of canopy, City of Cleveland? What do you mean a policy? I mean, so it, obviously those costs are eligible as described on the slides. As far as a policy, I think we'd be wanting to obviously indicate how you're going to maintain trees that you are planting as part of this, or trees that if part of your project is maintenance of existing trees, that is eligible as part of a project, but not as the entire project, I believe.
Right, and developing the policies
Right.
certainly is part of the planning and planting genre. So.
And then I think I'm going to check the chat. I think there's some in the
Yeah,
chat. So could these funds also be used to address high priority maintenance / pruning if the organization already has planting funds? I think we basically answered that. Now, yes, I think we want to see the entire application not be maintenance and pruning.
Yes, so one thing that I've experienced, and again, I was reading another question, these forms, if you decide that you want to edit these forms and make them different, they won't be accepted. And we want all these applications to come in looking very similar and uniform, so that we are comparing these projects one to the other, and we can see these how many trees and where, and the budgets, etc. I've done these fillable PDF forms for other programs, and people turn them into a Word document and rewrite them. So no, we're looking for those PDFs to be filled in and handed back in. Are we at a disadvantage? Jim Fialco asks, are we at a disadvantage in obtaining funding if we had positive canopy growth according to the last survey? So we're looking at your existing tree canopy as well as the loss and growth. You might be at a slight disadvantage. And again, with any grant program that you're looking at, if you do have good canopy, emphasize the other projects where you can amass those points, knowing that, oh, we already have good canopy. Let's not just try and make us get the 15 points. If you can't get that, go show us in the other criteria how this project is needed.
Are regional applications eligible, i.e. more than one municipality submitting one application? The answer to that is yes. We did fund at least one of those last year.
Yes.
So that is encouraged. Yes, short answer, yes.
But for the regional applications, you do have to pick the municipality or the applicant that will go into the project agreement, and they will be the lead.
Then over in the chat, Divya asked for high impact projects. Will we be allowed to have a combination of sites in a community or neighborhood? This is another ones where, yes, that would be eligible, but it would not probably score as highly as something where it was all in one location or clustered together.
And also those 5 contiguous. So if your 5 acres are spread out, that'll be like a bunch of community reforestation projects. So I just saw another question. I don't know if it was in chat.
One in chat. Sorry, I missed it, but what are the maximum point requirements for funding?
It's on this slide.
I don't understand the question.
No, I get it. So is there a cutoff line? Like if they don't get 85 points out of our 110, we don't have that. I find that that we have so many good projects and we need the tree canopy that these projects that come in might not have that low threshold. I know other grants have, like, if you don't reach 60% of the total, we don't have that. If there's money and your project is ranked, we want to get rid of this money. So I hope that's good with all the committee. Yeah, okay. So, well, I think
that's everything.
Anything else?
So there's another one in the Q&A here. Elise, based on Joyce's question, it sounds like preservation activities are permitted, but it should not be the only part of the planting plan. New trees would need to be added too. Is that correct?
Yes.
Also, would a planting plan that includes both planting and preservation be scored lower than all new plantings? I don't think the plan necessarily would be, the plan is the plan. So I don't think that would be.
No, I think because the planning projects last year didn't include a maintenance section because there was no planting involved, but every project this year is going to have planting. So, should not be the only part of the planting plan. That is correct. If you're doing a planting project, it must incorporate planting, and new trees would need to be added. These will all be scored of the 110 points.
And also, we would like all plans that are developed to identify planting sites as part of that. The plan needs to identify places where new trees could be planted. And then just clarification on preservation activities. We're not talking about like conservation easements and things like that. We're talking about maintenance of trees. We're talking about eligible activities. Then are we able to plant tree in low and moderate income areas where replacement of ash trees already removed are needed? So basically, can you,
Yeah, remove and replace trees.
Right. Or if they've already been removed and replaced, yes,
Yeah.
you can plant there. Yes, absolutely. Is removing disease declining trees an eligible funded activity so that we can plant new trees? Yes. All right. I think we got to everything in that is currently in the Q&A or the chat.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you all. We had 75 people, participants today. And it's a shame that we couldn't see you, the nature of the webinar, but thank you all so much for coming. And again, I'm going to share the screen one last time. So share, again, whoops, I think that's the website, stop share, because the last slide on the PowerPoint is my contact information. So share, oops, there it is. So if you do have any further questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. The best way to reach me is through email. I do work sometimes in the office and sometimes at home during the pandemic. So the easiest and fastest way to reach me is through the email. All right, so that's it. Thank you all for coming, and we look forward to seeing the projects that you submit. And I will be in touch when we update anything like project agreements or that final report notice, and we'll start an FAQ. So, okay.
Thanks, Allison.
Everyone.
Good luck, everyone.